Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times bestselling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold.
Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting godthesciencetheevidence.com.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose the Barbarian Way. Available now wherever books are sold.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
We've all been to the party or tailgate with that person. You know, the one who makes everything about politics. Or there's that relative, the one you blocked on Facebook because you'd prefer to opt out of toxic conversations.
I'm Sarah Stewart-Holland.
And I'm Beth Silvers.
We host Pantsuit Politics, where we take a different approach to the news.
On Pantsuit Politics, we opt out of the shouting and scorekeeping while still recognizing that elections matter.
We're here to look at the headlines as citizens. We pay attention to politics, but also keep it in perspective.
Pantsuit Politics was named one of Apple's best podcasts of 2021 and GMA3's podcast of the month.
Take a different approach to the news with us in 2023. Pantsuit Politics releases new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Listen on the Acast app and wherever you get your podcast.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Austin, Texas, author, speaker, podcaster, Jamie Ivey.
Hey, guys.
And from Nashville, Tennessee, artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What up, though?
Did you notice? I plowed through that February 8th with confidence.
You did a great job.
The confidence. I felt the confidence. You know what I'm saying?
I felt the confidence. It was still mispronounced, but I felt the confidence. What I find in most circumstances, you can, and I've learned this from recent political administrations, as long as you say something with confidence, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't have to be right.
It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be based in reality. If you just say it loud enough and angry enough and confidently enough, people will not only believe it, but dedicate their lives to trying to make it happen. It's very weird. But we get in the truck and just head north.
Oh, my God.
Ow. I always tell my kids when we go places and they're like, are we invited in here? I'm like, listen, act like you are. No one's going to ask you if you are. You just walk in, act like you've been here before. This ain't my first time.
Been to a lot of green rooms and backstages, and that is absolutely the case. You walking around the back halls of an arena or something like that with confidence like you're supposed to be there, nobody stops you. You just act like you know where you're going.
Being a person that's on the other end of that, that's the most frustrating thing in the world, because you just sitting there eating your chips. Sitting there eating your whatever, and then you look up, you're like, who the heck is this dude in the corner looking weird?
Taking pictures of you.
Taking like pictures of you, like, bro, hey, who is this? I'm like,
that guy is not following the rules, because if you're going to act like you're supposed to be there, you know you ain't taking pictures of nobody. You just chilling.
I'm like, fam, what is this? Oh yeah, I just security.
Hey, years ago, Cameron and I were in Las Vegas for NBA Summer League, and they were recording. It was a hyped weekend, and they had lots of great things happening in town.
This story is the perfect example of the difference between me and Jesse. All right, take it away.
So I really wanted to go, and Cameron did too. It was Bill Simmons Ringer Network was doing like an evening of live podcasts, and the guest list had like Daryl Morey, who's like a big figure in the NBA. He's a GM. It had David Chang, who I know Cameron and I are both big David Chang, Ugly Delicious, Mama Fuko. You know, it was just athlete and artist and really cool people. And it's like, dude, we have to go to this. This is gonna be so fun. And just for like
Bill
a little
Simmons
R&D. Bill Simmons and just a little R&D on what a podcast live show can be. So anyway, like it's sold out weeks in advance. So we go and we're like, let's just go and see if we can, find a way in. So we're going and we're standing outside with the doors shut. And I see people walking into like a backstage area. And you can see when the door opens, it's like where the talent is hanging out before they go on stage. And I'm like, Cameron, I'm just going to walk in there and go stand. And Cameron's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
I walked down the hall. Uncomfortable. I wanted nothing to do with this.
He was so uncomfortable. He just walked away. And I walked in just like I owned the place. And David Chang is standing there. And I just stood next to him like, hey, what's up? And then I just texted Cameron, and I did I open the door for you? Because you ended up making your way.
I went down the hall, and there was like a bar down there, and and some of the guys from Pawn Stars were just hanging out, and so I'm just like, where am I right now? And then I look up, and Jesse went from hanging out by this door and kind of plotting his moment to Jesse's gone. He went onto the stage. Jesse's there, and I'm stuck here down with Pawn Stars at the bar, and then Jesse's like texting me, like, dude, just come right now. And sure enough, I go up there. Jesse cracks the door open. I slide into, and I'm standing there. It's David Chang, Jesse, and me, 4 feet from Bill Simmons and Daryl Morey. And like, we are on stage with these people. And David Chang looks at us like, oh, I guess I don't know who y'all are, but I guess you're supposed to be here. You're standing next to me here.
Yeah. Seem very kind fellows. Why not? You
wouldn't be here if you weren't supposed to be. So what's up, dude? I was mortified at first, though.
Confidence. But then the moral of the story.
I glimpsed a moment of how Jesse lives his life, and it was like, man, this is a life better lived. I need to say yes. I need to just walk through the door.
Walk right through, man.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, we have a great show. If you heard the Friday show, we're messing up the format a little bit. Well, this show is going to be a little bit more familiar. We're not changing the order, but instead of doing our game at the end of the Tuesday episode, we are now doing your feedback at the end of this episode. We have a great guest today. Debra Fileta is coming on. We're going to talk about relationships and relationship health. And obviously, we will have Slices. So stay tuned. Up next, it's Slices. You're listening to Yumi Zuma in the Eyes of Our Love. Well, today's show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Hey, it's 2022 and mental health is finally a thing. A lot of people are struggling right now and aren't feeling like their normal selves. Well, guess what? Therapy helps. What is therapy? It's whatever you want it to be. You can talk privately to someone if you feel like you're not dealing well with stress, you're having relationship issues, job issues, whatever you need. Don't be ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better. You deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are using BetterHelp and see what therapy's all about. And right now, Relevant Podcast listeners can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/relevant. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/relevant. Okay, it's time for
Frases.
I don't like it. That's not sticking.
Derek missed him. Derek missed it.
Derek wasn't here.
Derek missed it.
You gotta play it. You gotta play it for Derek. Get him ready, Clark. Here we go, Derek. So you remember that like the sexy slices jingle that listener sent in?
Yeah.
He sent in 5 others, and so on Tuesday, last Tuesday, we played them all, and like. I guess Clark liked the chicken one the best. I don't know, but like, listen here, play the other one so Derek can hear him. He's a producer.
Okay.
He'll appreciate this. Here we go.
All right, here we go. Chef slices.
Okay.
Slices.
We didn't like that one either. It was all right. A little fancy, a little too fancy. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
It gets dark right now. Head roll slices.
Slices.
Oh,
Cannot handle that one.
my God.
Yeah. So bad.
That's the last scene in the last scene in the Thief in the Night movies. Yeah.
That is terrifying.
play that. We need a palate cleanser. Play the sexy one again. Like just play that one. Hey, girl.
All right. Got to do that. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then
Okay. Lumberjack.
Here's the thing I appreciate about this though. Bro is really creative. Like it like the head rolling thing. That is crazy. It ain't gonna work for radio. It's really creative. Like dude he's extremely creative.
What's the last one?
Right.
Isn't there one more?
Oh, ninja.
Slices.
Yo, that's kind of hard.
I think
That's kind of hard.
That's the one, man.
All right, let's.
That's not bad, bro.
Let's reset. Here we go. That'll be the one. So I'm gonna start at the beginning. Here we go. Now it's time for
Slices.
Yeah, it works. I like it. Let's stick with that.
Works, dog.
All right, what do you have, Jesse?
All right. I don't know about you guys, but it's even during the pandemic, this got even worse for me. I've never been a good sleeper. I've always kind of, had kind of insomnia. I wake up in the middle of the night and it's just, I have trouble, getting the good night of shut eye. But I recently ran across a story in the Atlantic that may shed some light on a long-term solution for insomnia, and it's even something that it can really help people that are suffering from anxiety. So researchers, and I encourage people to go read the story. So if you just Google the Atlantic sleep study, you'll find it. But anyway, researchers have been looking at journals and writings of figures prior to like the Industrial Revolution, when we had electricity and things that would allow our nights to be pretty long. Like now we can sit up and watch Netflix all night if we want. But this is how people thought and just felt pre-Industrial Revolution, particularly kind of in the medieval times and around the Renaissance period when people were writing a lot about their and these are private journals that they've investigated from around, it should be noted, from around the world with people with no connection to each other. Mm-hmm. What they found is people would constantly reference a time in the middle of the night where they're up doing things. They found this throughout different cultures, at different, centuries apart. And they've been able to piece together a lot of understanding from these writings that people pre-Industrial Revolution would practice what they call segmented sleep, which basically at nightfall, they would go to sleep. They would then wake up around midnight and have a couple hours where they would have this period of just getting stuff done. They would sit by the fire, they would read a book, they would do things around the house. Then they would go back to sleep a couple hours later and sleep till morning. Now, researchers are using this to determine what is the most natural sleep pattern for humans to actually observe. Because a lot of our current sleep patterns, we've kind of hacked circadian rhythm with technology. Like we can turn lights on and stay up very late. But what is the natural, actual rhythm, and how can we find that? Through these writings, they found that this segmented sleep was practiced. Even Martin Luther referenced waking up every night, and this is and this is what he said to ward off the devil in the night. This is taken from a private journal of Martin Luther in 1540. Almost every night when I wake up, and he's talking about his challenges with the devil, I instantly chase him, the devil, away with a fart. That's Martin Luther in 1540, like openly acknowledging this is a nightly thing where he wakes up and does his business or whatever he has to do. But thinkers throughout generations have actually referenced this. With a fart. That's what Martin Luther. That's not me, Martin Luther. I try to keep this pretty. I can't.
That is the devil. Okay. It just smells so bad that the devil runs,
But but in one of the researchers who's been studying this has looked at people who are reacclimating to this sleep pattern, which is called segmented sleep. And they said this: there's mounting evidence from North America, Western Europe, and Australia that knowledge of this pattern has actually helped to alleviate anxiety, permitting individuals to fall back asleep more readily. So even just knowing when you wake up in the middle of the night that this is maybe my body's just kind of falling into a natural rhythm can alleviate some of the anxieties involved with insomnia. But there are other people who are experimenting with this new sleep pattern because it turns out maybe we and our technology are not doing sleep the way it was designed to be done. So I thought it was really interesting. It'd be really hard to go to bed right at nightfall. I will say that. I'm not a person who could fall asleep at like 7:30. But I do think it's interesting.
If you started like getting up at dawn and you know what I mean? Like all these people, like they like your dad's like, oh, you lazy, you sleep till 11 a.m. or whatever. And I get up at 5. Yeah, but you're falling asleep watching TV at 7:30 at night. You know what I mean? Right. Like it's just, everybody's sleeping the same amount. It's just you shifted up. You're on a different time zone than me. You know what I mean?
You shifted your time. Yeah.
So you could, Jesse. I mean, it was just shifting your time zone, so to speak.
And I think too, like culturally, if you travel around the world in, third world countries where there's not adequate or advanced uses of electricity in everyone's village or town or house, you go to bed when the sun goes down because what are you going to do? And so we just we have evolved into. I mean, electricity hasn't always been here, obviously. So it's changed our whole body systems.
Yeah. And it turns out, according to writings for centuries and centuries, it turns out, even just getting a quote, good night's sleep might involve a period of 2 hours where you're up and awake and then go back to sleep. That's how people have been sleeping for centuries, not till a single 8-hour session is a very modern innovation, which is kind of the results of this
interesting.
Study. Yeah,
that's what's been happening to me lately. Interesting. I've been waking up at like 2 a.m. almost like clockwork, and then my brain's going, and then maybe around 4 I can fall back asleep. Like after I kind of write stuff down or sort out whatever was on my mind. I guess my body was subconsciously trying to process problems and different things, and then I wake up and it's like right there. So maybe
and I think the change now in our culture is that you still have a regular full day to live. You still have technology. You still have screens in front of you. You still have all the things. Whereas previously you could maybe do that. And I mean, that's why I love traveling sometimes. I mean, when we go to Spain, they take naps every day. I'm like, this is amazing. But our culture is not set up that way to let you get back what you needed.
Our culture is get to work.
Yep.
Get to work.
Have you noticed though that the countries where they do like an afternoon nap, like culturally, they also eat dinner at like 10 p.m.
So late. I mean?
Yes. They take that sleep from the end of the night and just put it in the middle of the day. So we're all still sleeping the same amount. It's just different order, different time slot, But interesting. All right. What do you have, Jamie?
Well, I know that you guys are all fans of The Office, and I loved watching The Office. I don't think last night. See? And my son watched it. We've seen it all in our house as well. But now I'm going to tell my son this will make him so happy. There's a new Office video game. All right. So it is now available you could download it right now. It's called The Office Somehow We Manage. It's now available on our Apple and Android phones. And the game is based around trying to save the Scranton branch of Dunder Mifflin from downsizing. So it gives you the chance to kind of immerse yourself in iconic moments from the series and connect with your favorite players forever before. That's dope. I think this is just like an interesting thing about how this television show, which you probably know, Cameron, when did this go off air?
Oh, 13, 12.
Okay, so here we are almost, 8 years later, and it's still having moments of resurfacing. And I just think that is like a clue of like, this is a show that can stand the test of time.
Well, I believe The Office is more popular now thanks to streaming, especially when it was on Netflix than it was when it was actually on NBC. And like new generations keep discovering it. But Cameron, it's interesting that that you mentioned you watched 4 or 5 the other night. I
literally watched like 10 last night.
Well, either way, you binged a lot of Office. I'm a member of the Office subreddit community, which I like following.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, it's pretty nerdy, and but I have a lot of varied interests. Anyway, but there are people who constantly talk about using the Office as therapy during difficult times, especially like post-pandemic. A lot of people have used it as literally as sort of just a form of therapy, that it offers a degree of comfort. And I've thought about this. I think there's a couple things. One, I think the characters are obviously relatable. There is a familiarity to the rhythm of the comedy, but I also think it harkens back to a different time when people would show up to work. They would show up at a physical place, do a thing, go home and not think about it anymore. You know what I mean? And, you shared a piece of carpet with people for 8 hours a day. And that was basically the relationship you had with that person. And it was just a different way of life that I think a lot of people kind of like thinking back on. But Jamie, to your point, it's interesting that The Office is finding new life with, we went on
podcasts that are out right now about it, so.
Yeah.
I read when it was on Netflix, there was a survey that at the time, this would have been probably 2 years ago, 26% of the millennial Netflix subscribers said that if The Office left Netflix, they would cancel Netflix, that they subscribed to Netflix for The Office. 26% of the Netflix subscribers in the millennial age range. And then it obviously went to Peacock. And Netflix is just fine. Nobody left Netflix, but I'll tell you, I'm watching the Peacock is doing an interesting thing where they're doing these like superfan cuts and they're extending the episodes, and they're all the side scenes that were cut are getting added back in, and so that 22-minute episode is turning into 40 minutes or 35 minutes or whatever. They're all different, and on some of them it's fun to see the little cutaways and little jokes and the little interview segments that were taken out. But I'll tell you, thank God for editing. It is way better in its final form than these superfan episodes. Like it's just not as good. Like the final tight edit, every writer needs an editor, every producer, every artist needs a producer. You need somebody to kind of like extract the best. And that is absolutely what happened with The Office. Because,
to be honest, that's what made The Office. The editing of it is what made it for me. Is it was so fast, like compared to all the other like sitcoms. It was just so like boom, joke after joke, bam, 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 bam. It's just so I don't know if I would like the super. They feel
Shaggy. Loose. The rhythm is off. It's just not. What you're talking about, that tight pop, 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 pop. There's whole storylines that would have been removed from an episode. Like an entire storyline with Creed didn't exist in the real show, but it's in the superfan, and it's just it bogged the episode down. Like good that they took it out.
Anyway, Derek, it's interesting. You mentioned the editing role in comedy, especially like the jump cut. Jump to a reaction or jump to the next joke or pause right when something happened and let your mind kind of fill in the blank. Right. I feel like the next generation of comedy shows are going to introduce editing in comedy in ways that we haven't ever thought of just because of TikTok. We are raising a generation of, filmmakers who are using a phone and simple editing software to deliver jokes in about 5 seconds very effectively. I think the next Office is going to be a former TikTok filmmaker who is just a master of delivering punchlines just through jump cuts.
Listen, and I'm going to tell you right now, there's this guy, his name is Joshua Neal. He is a genius. Like some of his skits, they're like, and it's just on TikTok. They're 3-minute skits on TikTok. When I talk about it, he writes it all. He writes it all. He films it all. He edits it all. Like, the guy is a legitimate genius. Like, it's not just like random guy doing stuff like this. This dude is amazing. So I'm just letting y'all know, like, I'm with you, Jesse. I think that that's the new wave, because what Josh is doing with comedy on Twitter and TikTok it's something that I've never seen before. Like, I've seen people do the situational comedy thing, but he acts and plays all the parts in it. And it's just like, it's crazy. Like, so yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah. Some of the funniest content created is, 30 seconds on TikTok right now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So. The next Lonely Island will come out of TikTok.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, for sure. You
absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
All right. What do you have, Derek?
So there's a study. I think you might be related to this guy, Clark. There's a study by hold on, let me see what is
I'm ready.
Kyle Flippo. There's a study by Kyle Flippo, and he is
cousin Kyle.
Interesting. Cousin Kyle.
Cousin or brother?
I have no idea.
Well, anyway, obviously alcoholism is a big issue, and there's been some forward progress in trying to find a way to help people wean their addiction. And Kyle Flippo is working on a study, and this is a peer-reviewed study, that there's a hormone called FGF21 that has suppressed the need for alcohol in monkeys. So they're testing this whole concept of people ingesting this hormone and it helping to lessen their alcohol cravings. So it's been pretty fruitful in these studies. So I guess the only thing I've been thinking is, what is a bunch of drunk monkeys like? Like, how do you run this study? Are you just like lighting these? Are you just giving them giving these monkeys a bunch of Everclear and Fireball, and then just
you gotta get them addicted to alcohol to then get them.
I'm like, how did y'all start the study? Did y'all give them? You know what I'm saying? Did y'all give them some Hennessy?
Hey, you know what? That's a party I would attend. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Derek, I love that. That's the angle you're going with here, because when you think about it, it's like, we don't just need some monkeys to get drunk. We need to make them addicted. Like, we need
a lot of them, because you got to have a lot of test subjects to see. So you got to have a lot of drunk monkeys.
It stands to reason that at some lab, at some research facility, there was basically a monkey bar. Okay, like
that's a monkey bar,
not a playground equipment, but a bar for monkeys in a lab. I mean, how else are they administering this? What are they injecting them?
Gosh.
No, they probably have a place where the monkeys go and drink, right?
Drink alcohol, man.
A literal monkey bar.
You know what's weird?
Like, what if you're the monkey bartender? Or what are you making them? You know,
this is a thing, because there is a bar in my neighborhood called the Drunk Monkey. Like, what?
Nah, bro. Nah,
that's so weird. Yeah, no, it's called the Drunk Monkey. Absolutely.
That's
it's
crazy.
Like, it's just a dive bar, but that's so. Oh, that is hilarious. The idea that you got to get all these. You're not just getting them drunk. You're getting them drunk every day, getting them hooked, and then weaning them off.
It feels kind of sad if that's how you have to do
sad.
that.
Yeah, man. It's. I just thought about it. I was like, okay,
they're having a good time. They enjoyed it. I mean,
you have these monkeys that are all alcoholics. Like, it's like now
alcoholic
you're trying to
monkeys.
figure out.
That is really funny. The idea of alcoholic monkeys.
What was the ramp up? How long did it take to get to the point where we would know if this is an effective study? Right? Like, if it's just, look, they can't just put monkeys on a bender for like a week and then take away the alcohol. Because that's not going to yield scientific results.
No.
Like, you need to give these monkeys, some researcher, it was their job to think about how I can make a bunch of monkeys severely addicted to alcohol.
What are they giving them? Like Fireball? I mean, like, what are they getting to do, like, to make the monkeys want to drink this stuff? You know what I mean? Like,
this is why they're scientists and we're not.
Man, I'm a
They
rapper.
can figure this out.
Yeah. Was there just like a scientist like with a blender just making gigantic fishbowl margaritas?
And then the monkey like pushes a button if they want, like, you want it shaken or stirred martini, and you just push the button what you want.
Oh, that's so funny. There's a monkey bar.
Yeah, what are we talking here? Yeah, what are we talking at this monkey bar? I'm just curious.
Oh my god.
Well, thank you, cousin Kyle.
The actual news is that scientists are coming up with a hormone that could potentially alleviate, almost like Nicorette with addiction to nicotine.
Same concept.
Which is a great thing.
Interesting.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, it's a great thing. But you can read about that. You can read about that whenever. We're talking monkey bar here because that's the real interesting thing. I'm happy about this, medical breakthrough that will help a lot of people. It's great. I don't want to underplay it. But let's not forget that someone got monkeys drunk for a very long time for this.
Yeah. All right. That'll do it for Slices. Stay tuned. Up next, Deb Fileta joins us. You're listening to Tove Lo. The song is How Long from the Euphoria soundtrack. Well, this week's conversation is part of our New You series we've been doing since early January. It's an 8-week limited content series presented by UHSM. Every week, we speak with leaders and experts on ways we can be healthier this year in spirit, mind, and body. We post new articles every Tuesday and Thursday at relevantmagazine.com. And here on the podcast, on the Tuesday episode, you hear conversations part of that series as well. Well, our guest this week is Deb Fileta. She's a licensed professional counselor and an author who's passionate about helping healthy people have healthy relationships. Since Valentine's Day is right around the corner, we thought it'd be a good time to get some good relationship advice from her. How to make your relationship with anyone healthier and happier. Here's our conversation with Deb Fileta.
When people think of resolutions, a lot of times it's centered around something that, maybe needs to change, or it's maybe a bad habit. So what are some of the bad habits you see people tend to fall into when it comes to dating? And what are some resolutions we can make to make it better?
I always say that healthy people make healthy relationships, and we tend to attract people and engage with people on our level of emotional health. And so one of the best ways for us to recognize unhealthy relationships, to kind of tune our radar into what's healthy or what's not healthy, isn't just by going through profile after profile or date after date. It's actually tuning the radar inside of us, making sure that we are emotionally healthy, that we've dealt with our past trauma and our wounds and our hurts. Because many times in relationships, we're functioning out of those unhealthy cycles of trauma and hurt and pain. And so if that's our cycle, then we are going to date in that way as well. We're going to date based on what we believe we deserve. If we're believing unhealthy things about ourselves, we're going to date in that way and end up dating unhealthy people. So I think the first step to becoming healthy and having healthier relationships is by looking in. We need to resolve to be healthy standing alone.
Something I feel like I've realized when I talk to friends is that, we all want a healthy relationship, but for just a variety of reasons, we don't know exactly what that may look like. So what would be a few markers of a healthy relationship?
I think the first and primary marker is reciprocity. A relationship has to be made of give and take. And I think we look for other things. We look for feelings. We look for a certain level of attraction. We look for, hobbies and interests, and we try to figure out if this is a good match or not. But I think even more important than those things is reciprocity. Am I giving as much as I'm receiving in this relationship? I always say that a healthy relationship is like a healthy plant. Okay, imagine with me a plant. The problem with this is many times we underwater the plant. We don't give it enough water, and in the end, the plant dies, right? But the other problem, we can overwater the plant. And when you give something too much water, it also dies. You can kill a relationship by giving too little, but you can also kill a relationship by giving too much. And I think many of us are in a habit of trying so desperately to keep this relationship, wanting it to work so badly that we give and give and give with no limits, no boundaries, no expectation to receive. And I think Christians are especially bad at that because we think selflessness means we just give and give and give with no limits and no boundaries. And we end up in these one-sided, unhealthy relationships. So I would say the number one mark of a healthy relationship is reciprocity.
I think that's such a good point, that it's not always that we don't give enough, but that we actually just give too much. And I think a lot of times we think, well, let me just try one more time with this person, when really it's time that we should be walking away. So how can we recognize when it's time to step away from a relationship?
That is the hard part, and it's going to look different for different people. I think the healthier you are, the faster that last time comes. Like 3 strikes, you're out, bud, rather than 30 strikes. Let me try this again. I think the healthier you are, the less tolerance you're going to have for relationships where you're not seeing the mark of growth, the mark of give and take. It's fine to make an excuse for someone in the beginning. A one-time thing, maybe a 2-time thing. Life is hard and things come up. But when this becomes a pattern, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, you're starting to see, I'm the one that's always texting. I'm the one that's always initiating. I'm the one that's always sharing. I'm the one that's always asking the questions. I'm the one that's always checking in, reaching out first. You've got to back up a little, pull away a little bit, and get a good idea of what's actually happening objectively. So I think what's hard is that some of us are so used to giving and giving and giving that we don't even recognize that we're doing it to a toxic level. And so pulling back and looking for patterns right at the beginning of the relationship. What you see in the first few weeks is probably what you're going to see in the next few years. People show you who they are. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to believe them.
What are some tips for people who are maybe just beginning a relationship and they want to make sure they have a good foundation set?
Well, I think a healthy relationship is kind of built in seasons. It's not like a once and done thing. There's constant work. Going back to the plant analogy, if we're cultivating a healthy relationship, there's not this once and done thing. I don't just water it one time and then hope it just continues. I'm going to have to keep investing in conversation. I'm going to keep having to work on the conflict that comes up and figuring out, how do I handle conflict? Do I handle it in a healthy way? Do I shut down? Do I go super desperate and just try my best to fix it in the moment? What is my conflict style and how do I handle conflict? How do I handle communication? How do I handle my emotions? Another thing too is the boundaries that we set. That's another thing that keeps our relationship healthy. Do I respect myself enough to have boundaries physically, emotionally, and spiritually? Or do I kind of let people be very free with me and I don't have limits and I don't say no and I don't kind of set this standard of what I expect? So boundaries are important. Conflict and communication is really important. And like I said earlier, that pattern of give and take. So it's not just a once and done thing. It's something that you have to keep working on. And you also want to be with somebody who sees the relationship as something that they want to keep working on too, so that you don't end up in the pattern of giving and giving and giving and not receiving anything in the end.
I love that you're talking about boundaries because that's something I know I talk a lot about with friends when, we talk about our relationships. And I think the one part that's always difficult to navigate is, you establish a boundary and you maintain it well, but then something happens and then that boundary gets pushed or it gets broken. So, how do you come back from that? How do you reset a boundary once it's been broken?
Yeah. I think the key is having the why for your boundary. A lot of times we just have the what. Okay, this is what I want to do. Here's the boundary I want to set. But when there's no why, a deep why, why am I actually motivated to keep this boundary? Is it just because I've been told I should have this boundary? Because my parents told me, my church told me, or because I truly believe this is for my good? This is the best for me and for the health of my future. The why has to be established if you actually want your boundaries to stay strong. It's for you and your health and the health of your relationship. And I think it's important to see boundaries in those ways. And if a boundary does get crossed, it's not a matter of just resetting it and starting over. It's a matter of understanding, okay, this boundary got crossed. That means that I need to be firmer with this boundary. And B, maybe I need to invite people into my life who also respect the boundaries that I set for myself. So it's not just a matter of blindly resetting the boundary, but then backtracking and saying, am I healthy enough to keep this boundary? And are the people in my life healthy enough to keep this boundary?
That was Debra Fileta. You can read more of that conversation in the as part of the new You series at relevantmagazine.com. Hey, while you're there, check out the rest of the stuff that we've been publishing as part of the series. UHSM is sponsoring it. You can find the link right there in our nav bar. Just click on the Life section. You'll see New You. And as you're kind of rethinking life and holistically this year, and maybe rethink your healthcare. As you're rethinking your healthcare, look into UHSM. They offer member-based programs where faithful people can take charge of their own healthcare, from telehealth options to plans that cover the unexpected moments in life. UHSM has something for everyone. For more information, head over to uhsm.org or contact a representative at 800-900-8476. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback.
There's no telling where this might go. We've been running with our eyes closed. Easy living, high hopes. Maybe we should drive slow. There's no telling where this might go. We've been running with our eyes closed. Easy living, high hopes. Maybe we should drive slow. Maybe we should drive slow, drive slow.
You're listening to Calica. The song is Drive Slow. Okay, it is time for your feedback. If you heard, let's see, when would this have been? Last a week ago, a week and a half ago, Friday? I mean, I don't know. A long time ago, we asked you about snow days. We got talking about Mount Trashmore and, you know, crazy snow day stories. So we want to know your most outrageous or silly snow day memory growing up. You guys hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast and other places as well. Here's a few of our favorite replies.
Well, this one's from Simply Dan, and there's a lot about this I like. It starts off with the blizzard of 93, as if we all remember that. Like,
the great blizzard of 93.
Blizzard of 93, comma. That's how he starts it. Like, okay, I'm assuming you lived in an area that in 1993 a blizzard blew through. We'll just assume it's common knowledge. Blizzard 93, comma. Everything was closed, so we had a multi-day block party, and the street became a giant sledding hill. I support multi-day block parties heavily. Yes. He said, when the township finally plowed us, no one wanted the party to end. So a bunch of the neighbors got their snow blowers out and blew snow back onto the street so the party would continue. I got to know where this blizzard happened, okay? Because it sounds like a great community you got there, Dan. And I'm glad your neighbors are at odds with the township over what level of fun you're allowed to have in the snow. Good on you.
So they were snowed in because of the blizzard and decided to turn it into a big outdoor party. And then the city caught up, plowed the street clean so life could go back to normal. And they said, no, thank you.
Snow
and
back
put
onto
all
the
the
street.
snow back into the street.
And a lot of people say that's irresponsible in creating a road hazard that could, a lot of people say, fight for your right to party in the blizzard of 93.
And they were fighting. Yeah.
Religious freedom, man. I'm going to fight for my right to party.
Ryan George says snow kayaking behind a vehicle is fun.
Oh my
Downhill snow kayaking is a straight adrenaline rush, especially with jumps. Airborne kayaks do not naturally occur in nature for a reason. One being broken rib my buddy got while jumping without wearing my life jacket.
I just love that they put the life jackets on. Like they thought that was the padding that was going to help them if they ran into a tree or something.
It's not a bad strategy.
What was the life jacket going to do?
It's a helmet, too.
I wouldn't want to be trapped in a kayak, like with my legs inside of the thing. Like if it tipped over or something like that, then you're being dragged. At least if you're on a sled or sitting on top of something and it went bad, like it stops. The ride stops. But the kayak, you could get hurt, man. That's dumb.
Yeah, John Smith. Remember a couple weeks ago we talked about youth pastors and all the dumb things they did? Well, here he is. As a youth leader at a winter retreat, I figured out how to put 3 people on a snow tube that was made for 1. And he wants us to know he's an engineer in real life, so that's why he could do this. It says, we broke all speed records that day and crashed. I broke 2 ribs, dislocated my clavicle, and spent the weekend in the ER, but no teens were injured.
I didn't even know a clavicle could be dislocated.
Well, there you go.
Well, there's a lot more stories. You should go check out all the replies at Relevant Podcast on Twitter. And you, as a little bonus for your effort, you will see a picture of a garfoose. Somebody made a snow garfoose, which is half giraffe, half moose. And it is a glorious, glorious snow creature. So that's there as well. Anna Lawrence did that one. Okay, it's time for this week's
editorial question of the week. Hey.
Well, as you know, it's the 8th. This week is Valentine's Day, the 14th. It's coming up. So, we were thinking about Valentine's. We were thinking about question of the week. We were going to ask creative ideas or craziest Valentine's Day. No, we actually want to just know your worst date story. It doesn't have to be Valentine's Day. We want to know your worst date story. Everybody has one. You better hit us up with it. You can find us on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, and we'll also post the question on the Relevant Magazine IG page, IG Stories. Well, before we wrap it up, I want to thank Deb Fileta for joining us today. Make sure to check out the new You series presented by UHSM. There's a lot of great content over there. Also, while you're at the website, make sure to check out Deeper Walk. It's over in the faith section. It's our daily devotional series presented by Lumo. We do a morning devotional email every weekday, or you can just check it out in the faith section at relevantmagazine.com. Also, make sure if you like the music here on the show, check out the Heard on the Relevant Podcast Spotify playlist there for all you Spotify fans or users. And if you like the show, tell people, rate it, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you hear us. It helps the algorithm get the show out there even more. All right. On that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
Derek Miner.
Don't forget, guys, Valentine's Day is in 6 days. You better be ready. Better get ready. All right. We'll see. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you on Friday.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
What if you're the monkey bartender? What are you making them?
Relevant Podcast Network.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.